Hey everyone, welcome to another video. As always, my name is Jay, and I know you've been seeing tons of videos about the new contrast paints, but I wanted to make my own review of it. And so I decided what better way to do my review is to actually just sit down and start painting them, using them for the first time. I'm going to be using them on some Genestealer cult models, because I think this is one of the armies that I think would be really cool with these paints. Tons of flesh tones, tons of organics, and tons of cloth. So I think it's a great model to try these paints on. I picked up a bunch. It took me a while to get them, but I am super excited to get them. I'm going to try them out today using just, the only thing I do regret, I wasn't able to get the medium. I wanted to get it, but it was sold out at the time that I ordered it, so I can't thin the paints down. And so I'll be using them just purely out of the bottles today. In the future, I would like to try out the medium and see how the medium and see how you can dilute them. But this is my review of the new contrast paints, and you're going to see me literally just use them for the first time. I'm going to set a timer on my watch and see how long it takes me to paint each of these models. It's going to be tons of fun. Yes. So let's get started on the review. Hey everyone, so I'll be working on this Genestealer cult model today. I'm going to be painting him in, I don't know, probably orange cloth and stuff. And so I went out and bought a bunch of the new contrast paints, as you can see here. And today I'm just going to give you my first impressions as I'm working with them. So, as I was saying, I'm going to take out a brand new Citadel shade brush. And I'm just going to start off with the flesh tones. So I'm going to go with Contrast Magos Purple, perfect color for, of course, Genestealer Cult. And let's get started here. I'm excited. I'm really excited to finally get my hands on these models. I'm just going to open up the page to the color scheme that I want to emulate. And we're going to get started in a second. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yes. So, here we go. And I'm going to, as I said, I'm kind of curious. I'm just going to set a little timer here. It's not a race or anything, but I'm just kind of curious. How long would it take me to paint this model using the new paint? So let's start off with Magos Purple. And as I said, I'm just going to take it directly from the pot and apply it over the model. So let's get this going here. Put that right here. Start with the flesh tones. Now as you can see, I did prime the model white. I could have done the gray or the darker color, but interesting. So as you can see, it's very much like an ink. It does pool. So all I'm going to do here is get a nice healthy coat on my brush, my shade brush, put it over the entire skin tones. There we go. Very cool. And as you can see, it gets into the recesses. It really does shade, and then it glazes over the higher areas. So, look at that. He's the face. Just make sure to get full coverage. We'll leave the tongue because I'll be painting it red later. Cool. Now let's paint the arms. Actually, just the hands pretty much for this guy. So for him, I'll paint his hand. The little gaps in the armor, I'm going to do his feet. It does run, and obviously it's very thin. It really much reminds me of the old inks, as I said, that other companies used to offer. Even the GW used to have a line of quasi-inks. But, cool. So let's paint his hand the same purple. Correct that, just remove some of the pooling. And there's a little bit too much pooling there. Let's just remove a little bit extra as well. There we go. Cool. And as I said, I figured this would be a great model to try this on because it has a lot of, what do they call organics and cloth. Cool. And here, I did prime it white, as I mentioned. I could have primed it either the grayer or the the Wraith Bone. But since I'm using a combination of warmer and darker tones, I figured might as well just start off with white, right? Make things easy. And okay, right here, as I'm going to try to keep it nice and clean if I can. But it's going to be a little tough. Painting a little bit of an arm's length. Cool. And his hand. Let's paint his hand as well, right here. That, so I'm about a minute, 3 minutes in. Cool. Look at that. Nice. All right. So that's done. I'm going to let that part continue. Well, I figure I might as well keep going. All right. Oh, yeah, paint the other arm as well. So paint this area. I did forget that area too. Cool. Look at that. He is coming along already. So we're 3 minutes in. Now that that is done, let's just wash off my brush quickly. Dry it off here, and let's continue. So now that the Magos purple is on the model, I'm going to then turn to the next color. The next color I'm going to do is Gryph-hound Orange. As you can see here, Contrast Gryph-hound Orange, and that'll be the color for the cloths, as I mentioned. So his cloth area. Will be Gryph-hound Orange. I really like this orange. It's nice and bright. Very cool. And as you can see, this is a great model to work on with these paints because of the flowing cloths, the skin tones. Very cool. So they're very interesting so far. As I said, I feel like I'm just putting it on, and then I am just clean up that. Sorry. There we go. It's an interesting paint so far. Look at that. Wow. Cool. As I said, it really does. It does a good glazing. There's a little bit of pooling right there. So I'm just going to take my brush, pull it off a little bit, move the pigments away. I'm intentionally working dark, darker areas over lighter areas, right? So that way it's easier to cover. Very cool. As you can see, it really does work. Cool. That's the orange. I'm going to remove a little extra. As I said, just a bit of pooling in certain areas. A bit of running. Nice. Nice. Okay, so that is done. So 2 colors in. Now, let's turn my attention to... Let's do the blues. So I'm going to do, for for the other tone, I'm going to go with, what color do I want to do? The green, I think. Yeah, the contrast, the Achillean green. Let's use that for the other parts of his arms and legs. That'd be cool. And I'm curious about how, as I'm working with this, and it's still pretty wet. Now where I'm working is a pretty humid environment, but I'm intentionally keep going oh, that is a beautiful color. I'm seeing how these colors will interact, so I'm going very carefully. With every extra color, I'm going to take my time and just go a little more careful. But look at that. That looks cool. It's a beautiful color. Beautiful greenish blue. Since I'm going dark colors over lighter colors, it tends to go quite nicely. Look at that. Very nice, very nice. I like it. This is a beautiful blue. And I'm just putting it over the areas, and as you can see, it really does settle in the recesses while having a nice glazing effect over the raised areas. I like it. So far, this is the type of model that I think it'd be really great on. Will it be just as good on, Space Marines? I guess, yeah. But I think it's better for organic models than armor. I honestly don't think this would work the best on things like, oh, I did miss a spot. I'll go back and paint that up too. I missed his hand. But I think it'd be better on this than, large armored vehicles, for example. I don't think that's going to be where this exists the best. Or isn't, the best application. Cool. Look at that. Nice. Okay. I'm loving this. Okay. So that's done. I'm just going to go back with my Magos purple and paint that hand that I missed. This is definitely, as I said, a good model for this this test. And what I'm going to do is just a little bit of blending. See how well those blend together. The thing is, they do stay wet a little bit longer than the normal paints because they're inky. So look at that. It tends to, I did go a little bit into one area, but it's fine. These paints are going to be a bit expensive. But look at that. Cool. Nice. And so that's done. For the main body part, I will do, might as well do white. Yeah, I'll do the white. I want to try out that white. So let's put that away. Which is more like a gray anyway. So I'm going to take the Apothecary white and paint his armor with the Apothecary white. Oh, his shoulder pads will be blue, but that's okay. I'll paint them after as well. His shoulder pads should be blue. Okay, so as you can see, it's like an off-white. It's more of a gray, but it does really settle into the recesses. And I'm just layering it in, putting it right in there. That will be black anyway. This piece will be black. Okay. Look at that. I really like these paints. So far, so good. Cool. I should be maybe a little cleaner. That's okay. So I'll move that to gray. That'll be gray. That'll be good. Right here. So the only thing is, I do lose track of what I've painted so far because I'm painting on a white. Well, that's okay. Cool. So the top part is painted. Look at that. Nice. Okay. Let's put this away. Let's paint black areas. Or you know what? I'll go paint the shoulder pads now. With that, I'll go back with a Kellyan green. Or I should paint the shoulder pads to match the model. There we go. It's an interesting effect so far. I'm kind of curious how it's going to dry. But, you know, it might be really good in combination with just a quick dry brush over each area. But it's definitely feeling faster. It really is. Or process. This is perfect for an army like, again, Genestealer cult, where you have a whole bunch of guys. It's a horde army, right? And so, maybe I'll use it to paint up everyone. Look at that. So, done. Okay, another step done. Let's keep going. So the claws, I'm going to paint the black. Might as well. Let's paint black for the claws. So this is going to be Black Templar. So the Black Templar, once again, I'm assuming would be a gray or a yeah, it's basically a dark gray. Okay. Because a dark gray settling in the recesses would appear black. It is pretty, yeah, it does have good pigments though. I think so far they have good pigmentation. I really like, this is going to make painting a lot of Genestealer cult models really fun. Or again, Space Marines, if you want to do it. So it's just going to settle there. Cool. Paint the claws. Nice. Okay. And maybe the knee pads. We'll go with the knee pads as well. All the Under Armour. So a lot of it's actually going to be black. This part will be black. Wow. Look at that. It just settles right in the recesses. And I said the whole time, I haven't even switched my brush yet. I've it's not bad. Look at that. That is nice. Cool. And let's go to here. Cool. And the last shoulder pad. Nice. Okay. Cool. I'll paint the gun and that a little bit metallic after as well. But there we go. So I'd still use metallics. I wouldn't want to do non-metallic. But he's looking pretty good so far. So I'll paint the tongue red and clean up the whites. But that's a cool effect so far. Cool effect so far. And what I've been painting for about, I don't know, 20 minutes? Not too bad. So far, I've gotten this many colors in. You know, and that's, you know what, maybe I want to try the other gray. I'm going to try the other gray on his torso. Cool. Let's keep going. Let's try this gray. The Griff Charger Gray. That's a cool color too. Yeah, that's actually more like what I was going for. It's a bit, it's a cold tint to it. And obviously I'm just trying out colors right now. I'm not, if I had a preferred color scheme that I already had in my head, batch painting would be much easier. Like these paints I could definitely see making batch painting significantly easier. There's of course a little bleeding, as you can see right here. So let's see if I can just get rid of it. Otherwise the other step would just be to go back to your base color or whatever color you want to go with to warm it up. And look at that. Cool. All right. So I will stop right here, let it dry, and I'll get back to you guys in a few minutes when this is all dry. So, sorry, I just took a quick break. I added a couple more details to the model, but in the end, I've only been painting for about 28 minutes. And that's not knowing my color scheme. I tried out multiple colors in an area. I did non-metallic metal on the gun and the sword and the chain. And yeah, this is what it looks like after 20 so minutes. So I'm going to let it entirely dry to see how long it dries for. It's still pretty wet. And in the meantime, let's get to a different model. Yes, I want to try flesh tones. Alright, so up next we have a Space Marine Lieutenant. As you can see, I just painted him quickly with Wraithbone. I wanted to use a warmer tone to see how the Guilliman flesh interacts with a warmer tone. I figured that'd be a nice contrast. So once again, I'm going to pull out my new Citadel shade brush, some Guilliman flesh. This is awesome. This is really exciting. I'm actually excited to try these out. As I said, it looks like it dries darker, but let's give it a try. So I'm just going to take some off my palette. And what I do like about this, if you're doing flesh tones, now flesh tones can be really frustrating for some people. And on top of that, when you're doing a lot of layering of flesh tones, like I do, sometimes you lose detail. And so it'd be nice to just put on a single layer, like as you can see here. And, ooh, I really like that. It does appear a little dirty, but I really like how it interacts with the Wraithbone. As you can see, it creates much more warmer of a tone. And if I put this over a white, for example, I do like that. Very nice. Wow. So, cool. I really like that. Just gonna make sure that I can get rid of the lines. Wow. Look at the detail of the face, it's still all kept. That is nice. I really like that. It's Guilliman flesh. Cool. Cool stuff. Nice. I like that. Let's let that guy dry too. Okay, so while those other two are drying, I want to see the blendability of these things. It looks like they should blend pretty well. So here's a Abominant here. I'm going to use two colors. I'm going to blend Magos Purple and green. There we go. I want to see how well they would just blend together, because maybe on this like shoulder pad, this would be a good area. So let's just get some good amount of purple, blend it into the blend into the green, so to make sure plenty of coverage. Nice. I do find that I'm finding that my brush strokes almost appear the way that you apply the paint on. I guess that works for heavy. If I had the medium, I think it would be better, but that's okay. So we got that on, and let's just do a quick test. I'm going to take some of the green. And I'm expecting that some pretty bleeding, of course, so I'm going to get just the majority of it off my brush first. Get onto the rest of the white areas. I love this color. This is probably my favorite color so far. It's like a cyan. It's really, not cyan, I guess, just a greeny blue, but. Okay, get the excess off my brush, and let's just go into these. Okay. Let's clean this off. Get off my brush. And take the purple, and once again, let's build it back. And of course, it doesn't dry very fast, right? So there you go. So there will be a bit of bleeding between the two, but I think it's kind of cool. You can really work this in, and you can really pull the pigment from the greens. Look at this. So we can create the transition. And then we'll take a little bit more of the purple. Build it in. Look at that. That's not bad. You seen that? So it does create a bit of a darker tone, but you can just pull the pigments. This does take a while to dry and create a bit of a blend between the two. That's not bad. Take a little more green and just apply a little bit here. Let's clean up my brush, grab the other one, and we'll just look at that. It's not bad. Pretty cool for transitions. I think this would be a fun tool. Fun set of paints for even more experienced painters that really want to just create some really cool effects. There. I'll go there, so I'll let that dry as well. Alright, so the paints are dried. Each model, I painted a couple models. I found that I wanted to give it another shot because I found with each model it was getting faster and faster once I decided my color scheme. So I painted an Aberrant, as I mentioned, another Genestealer cult guy, and the face of a lieutenant. So let's start off with the face of the lieutenant. As you can see, realistic skin tones, very easy. The key is just to make sure that there wasn't really much of a pooling, because then it would give weird lines, but I think it turned out really nicely. Cool. It's a little dark for my, but you know what? For instant application of a skin tone, that really works. I really like it. Like it a lot. Now, the results of the guys. So as you can see, this was the first model I painted up. Overall, I think it's a cool system of paints. It's going to save a lot of time. This model did not take me a lot of time. I did not metallic metal effect on everything. On the guns, the sword, you know, the chain. In the end, this is not the normal quality I paint to. It kind of screams needing a highlight, so maybe it'll just be a quick, you know, dry brush over each area would really bring this to life. So you're essentially doing your base coat and shading at the same time, a light highlight or a dry brush, and I think this model would really be brought to life. I really do think so. These guys, I think so. For each area, that'd be really nice effect. But as you can see, it's painted. Didn't take very long to paint. It dried in about 20 minutes. Has a little bit of a shine to it, not too much, but not bad at all. Not bad at all. This guy would be worthy of, like, if you painted up your entire army to this standard, you could bring it to a tournament easily, right? Definitely more than 3 color minimum. Definitely has some color on it. And you can easily tell each model apart. You know? Cool. And that's with nothing. There's no highlights. I think I'd do a little bit of a highlight over it, you know, of each area. Just a nice dry brush maybe, just to pick up on some surfaces. But not bad at all. As I said, this is not usually the standard I paint to. I usually paint to a higher tabletop standard. But turns out nicely. And then next, I just wanted to do a little blending. I wanted to try it around, and as you can see, it turns out nice. It blends quite nicely into these areas. The 2 arms blend up nicely. I didn't do it on the legs, so just to show you the difference of the leg, no blending at all. I didn't try it at all, but the arms I did. And I'm really happy with it. This Aberrant only took me like 15 minutes to paint up, not even, and I was just working at a good pace. Once again, non-metallic metal. And as I said, I really do feel like it would do well with a quick dry brush or a quick highlight. But this is a tabletop standard. You know what? This is a tournament standard. You know how many times you go to a tournament and there's no paint at all in the models? This would be worthy at a tournament. You could bring these models and play them, and no one could call you out on it. It's definitely more than 3 colors, and it's definitely painted, right? You won't win best painted, but you can still field a model, an army of painted models. But cool stuff. So what I find? I did find it's a bit of streaking, as you can see, unevenness, which maybe I just need some more practice with them. I really did like the way that you can really manipulate the pigments. They were very pigment rich, and you can really manipulate them by just pushing them to where you want them, and that was nice. The colors are fantastic. I really do love the colors. I find that this gray is nice if you want to do a non-metallic metal or rock. It would look really good. I find they blend quite nicely. They're very thin. The cost is a little high, I do find, for the size of the paint pot, since they're in between the normal ones and the higher ones. But of course, they do multiple jobs for you at the same time. But as you can see, looks pretty cool. And that's the results of my first time with the new contrast paints. So, to summarize, I had a lot of fun. I've been using them for about an hour. And my first impressions are they're very cool. I wish I had the medium. I think it would be the medium would bring some more fun to this thing, as then you can try more techniques of blending and stuff. But what do I think so far? Number one, they're cool. You know what? You put them over a white primer. In this case, I did use them over a white primer in all cases, except for I did have a base coat with the bone for the flesh tones, and I really do like them. I really do actually think they turned out cool. Would I use them to paint up an entire army if I wanted to go to a higher standard? Maybe not. I think these are more, I think they're going to be really cool in the hands of a lot of really good painters for some blending, or if you really just want to paint up your army really quickly. You can just go to an intermediate standard and, you know, do a quick dry brush or a quick overbrush, a quick highlight over these colors, and I think it would really make these areas pop. If you stop at just using the paints themselves, I do find that you'll get a result in the end. It just won't be the highest tabletop, but it won't be terrible. I think it'll be, you know, good for a tournament, good for, you know, playing your friends. You won't win any awards, but doesn't matter. You're feeling a painted army. You know, much of my my goal is to help rid the world of unpainted models, since my painting with Jays and everything. And I do find these will definitely be a tool to help rid the world of unpainted models, because I'm excited. You know, I painted 2 models up in about 40 minutes combined, and it was a lot of fun. And then I'm already trying out, you know, cooler tones and seeing all the colors. What do I think of the color range? The color range is great. Tons of colors to choose from, and I do like the way they hit you over the head with, you know, Blood Angels red, Space Wolves gray, Dark Angels green. It could be like Imperial Fist yellow. I haven't tried the yellow yet. That's the one color I want to try, but I've seen in a lot of tutorials it seems to work. And I'll do maybe a mini tutorial in the future of painting yellow using these paints. I just, you know, did a miniature painting 101 on painting yellows using glazes. But yeah, I really do think they're cool colors. The flesh tones are nice. I do think they're nice. They're a little dark, but I think they work. And as I said, they produce a good result. Is this going to be the most frequently used paint type? Probably not for most people, I think. Like people like me, I'm going to continue to paint my Space Marines to my normal standard, but if I want to, I may use these heavily with my Genestealer cult. I think it'll be really good in the hands of like certain armies. Genestealer cults or Tyranids, it's going to be really fun, specifically for 40k. Orcs, really cool. You know, tons of flesh and cloth. So even like Imperial Guard, you could do it. I think it will work well with Imperial Guard, especially if you're painting a lot of flesh tones. It'll save you a lot of time. But yeah, as I said, the downside is they are a bit streaky. They do bleed. Oh my goodness. It would be wise to you know, paint an entire area and then clean up the next, paint it entirely. If you're wet on wet, it bleeds together really easy, I found. But it blends quite nicely if you wanted to. The color range is really cool. I do recommend going over the warmer tones, like we use the Wraithbone or the white so far. I've been just looking and trying out some cooler tones. I find it creates a little too dull of an effect, but yeah, as I said, it's pretty cool. As I said, I just tried the same flesh tones over a cool tone, and it is a bit darker and more a little boring, a little less bright and vibrant. But if you want to do it over, you know, cold tones, like if you're doing blues or some bluish greens, it'll really work with a cooler tone as well. Yeah, I think it's a cool system of paints. I really do. I think it's cool that GW came out with the inks. I call them the inks because they're very similar to inks. But I think it's an interesting paint source. I think it's going to help rid the world of unpainted models, because it's going to allow some people who wouldn't normally paint their models to really attack their army. You know, if you're painting 100 Genestealer cult models or orcs or even, you can, as I said, you can apply this to Space Marines as well. And I just do recommend, you may want to do a quick highlight, quick dry brush. To me, it screams of a highlight. But yeah, I really like them. Overall, I think they're really cool. I love the color range. I'm going to be doing some videos on this paint range in the near future again. But my overall first impressions are I think it's really cool. Will it completely change the game? We'll see. Good. What are your thoughts? Most importantly, what are your thoughts on the new contrast paints? Obviously, most of you have been using them for about a week already. I just got them today. What are your thoughts? What do you think is good? What do you think are not? Do you think it's worth the money? Let's create a discussion in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching this review. My first impressions of the new contrast paints. Stay tuned for more videos, and as always, please like the video, comment in the comment section down below of what you think. Subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so. This video is brought to you by my Patreon campaign. Link in the description below if you want to help support my Patreon campaign as well. Stay tuned for more reviews. Till next time, it's Jay saying happy painting with me.